Good morning, students. After the topic electronic conversion of manuscripts, we move to the next topic preliminary copy editing, design, and specimen pages. So, we have reached the copy editing stage. On the receipt of this typescript or electronic files, it can be a hard copy printout, the production controller will ask the typesetter to test or trial the material. It is to make sure that it is satisfactory, and it is also to provide a cast off. Cast off is actually the calculation of the number of printed pages that the copy will occupy when set in a given typeface and measure. It is to be done because we need to know the probable cost of producing the book. We can only estimate the cost of production if we do the calculation of pages and when you test or trial the entire material. So it is the duty of the production controller to ask the typesetter to do these things, the following things after the receipt of this typescript, which can be in the form of an electronic file or hard copy printout. And most of the publishers work with small number of typesetters, and it will be on agreed scales so that they know in advance in most cases what the setting cost per page will be. So that should be corrected first, that should be maintained in the initial point itself to understand the setting cost. So they need to have some kind of an understanding of this material in the preliminary stage itself. So if the book is in a series or it is being produced according to a standard design, at that point copy editing is very minimal because it is a part in a series, or if that book has a certain standard design, copy editing, there is not much work to do from copy editing side. However, there are two circumstances that may lead the commissioning editor to ask for a full design specification to be produced before the book is copy edited. So in this class we will be dealing with this design specification. So there are two circumstances where we need full design specification. First, if the book is unusual or specialized, for example, if it is the first volume in a new series, that book actually needs full design specification. And second one, if for various reasons some specimen or sample pages are required, so the typesetter may be asked for sample pages not only to check that the design specification is being carried out correctly, but also to show the marketing department and the author, especially in the cases where the form and function are closely related, such as textbooks, encyclopedias, guides. There, several samples may be produced, each with different modifications. And it is there this copy editor will be asked to produce a preliminary brief which enable the designer to produce or prepare a design or composition specification. So, as I said earlier, if it is a book in a series or if it is a book of a standard design, these things are not to be done. But if it is a book or it is a first book in a series, or there are other reasons where this typesetter needs sample pages, there we require full design specification. Before going any further, we need to know certain terms related to copy editing. First term is folio, because we will be using these terms in the coming lectures too. If you need to understand preliminary copy editing, we need to understand these terms. First one is folio. It is actually a sheet of typescript. Typescript, as you know, it can be a hard copy, it can be an electronic file. So a single sheet of that typescript is known as folio. And what is leaf? It is two pages that back onto one another. It is two pages of a typescript, and the right hand page is known as recto. Please remember, right hand page is known as recto. So take a book, you will understand your right hand page will be known as recto, and the left hand page is known as verso. And these two pages together is known as leaf. Third is page. Page is a proof. Page can be a page of a proof or a finished book or journal. And you must understand the distinction between page and folio. Page and a folio, you may think that it is similar, but you must understand that a page and a folio will contain different amount of material. For example, an index can be can take around 10 A4 folios if it is typed double spaced and single column. But in a page, it will occupy only around 2 or 3 pages when it is printed. So that is the difference between page and folio. And what is part? Part is a group of related chapters with a part number or title or both. It is a group of related chapters with a part number. It may have a title, or it may have both the title or and part number. What is preliminary brief? It is important. It is also called copy editorial brief. So it is a brief drawn up by the copy editor for the designer, and he can be possibly typesetted too, which will list the elements in the book that might be relevant to the design. So it is a brief description done by the copy editor, which is given to the designer, can be given to the typesetter as well, and it will give out the list of the elements in that book which might be needed for the designer to set the design. So that is preliminary brief. Section is a subdivision of a chapter, you may know. Subheading, you may know, it is a heading to a section of a chapter. a bibliography, or an appendix. The other kinds of headings are called part headings are there, chapter headings, table headings, running heads. Running heads it is also known by the name page header. Page header is the, as you know, as the word indicates, it is the head of a page, title of a page, which will be given on the top most position of that page. It is also known by the name headline. So it is just the heading that appears at the top of every page. TypeScript. We have gone through TypeScripts in detail. So it is just the author typed copy to be typeset. It also means hard copy or printout produced from author's electronic files. Next is typographical design composition, typographical or design composition specification. So in this class we'll be looking in detail to that point. So it is the list in which you have typefaces and sizes, style for headings, tables and other features of the book. It is a list which contain all these things. So this is an example where you see the designer's typographical specification. So here the designer has detailed the elements of a book which goes into the design. So you will understand that this is something written by a designer in which he lists various things related to the book. It talks about the size, measure, text type, subheadings, table types, sorts, illustrations, and all those additional specifications about chapters. So this is known as design specification done by designer. So in this class we will be talking about what are the things he lists, a designer list, or the copy editor ask the designer to take his attention to. So when you go for a design specification, it is assumed that you have complete TypeScript in hand and some of the pages, some of the TypeScript pages are given to the designer and the typesetter to produce this preliminary design specification and specimen pages. Specimen pages are intended to show solutions to all general typographical problems in a book or series. So the designer will have a set of specimen pages which will help him to do the designer specification as you have seen in that picture. So he will have specimen pages and it is used to show all those solutions to all those problems which may occur. So the specimen page may contain, pages may be around, it can be a one page if it is a small and only to show some recurring features such as those in dictionary. So the dictionary follows a pattern. There is every page has common features. So for that the designer may need only 1 to 8 pages, and he may need more than 8 pages if the book is complicated and exceptionally varied, different. Although we say that 4 pages should usually be enough to give an idea of what the designer has in mind, and it is the duty of the copy editor to mark up a representative section of the book so that each particular item is drawn to the designer's attention and can be included in the specimen pages too. The specimen will normally show at least one full page, which include running heads, page number, a chapter opening, all the grades of subheading, footnotes or endnotes, and long quotations or other passages distinguished from the main text. It will contain illustrations, tables or diagrams if this is part of, or if it add to the significant feature of the book. So specimen pages may contain all these things, and it is the duty of the copy editor to draw the designer's attention to folios that show unusual or special features, listing items that should be included on specimen pages, and giving samples of the running heads. So he should write fresh page or recto at the top of the appropriate folios, including those for preliminary matter, bibliography, etc., and write verso blank on part title folios. So this is the duty of the copy editor. When he gives the copy to the designer, he should write fresh page or recto at the top of appropriate. That is the right side page he should give recto, and it should include all those preliminary matters, bibliography, etc. And verso blank, it should contain all those part title folios which come, the rest of the things which comes under that book. And if possible, look at every folio of the typescript to ensure that you see all the things you need to note for the designer, and list the factors that might affect the choice of typeface. Along with that, you should mention things that occur occasionally. For example, special sorts. Special sorts is that accented characters in a word. For example, resume contains accent in there at the top of E and both E's. So that is known as accented characters, and that type of words are known as special sorts. So the copy editor should mention things like that, and he should also mention things like passages containing words in capitals or which you might want to use small capitals, etc. And the copy editor must also say the designer approximately how many folios contain these kind of complications and give folio references to examples. And if the book is to be set in the same style as there is a similar one, the copy editor should warn the designer of any differences that will affect the typographical specification. So it is again the duty of the copy editor to tell the designer of the difference between the earlier book which has similar features to avoid that typographical problems. The new book might be more complicated and may include one or more of the following, like an extra grade of subheading. It may contain tables, bibliography, appendixes, the contributor's name below each chapter title. It may be bold, Greek, or there will be Greek or mathematical characters in a text or headings, and it might have much longer or much shorter headings, or it might be less complicated and might not need running heads. So, all these things are to be informed by the copy editor to the designer when this book goes for design specification. So in this class, we were talking about preliminary book design, preliminary editing, and preliminary design and specimen pages. So go through this lecture, go through the notes I will be providing in your Moodle platform. So please try to prepare notes. If you have any doubts, please clear it immediately. Thank you, girls. Have a nice day.